Did you miss me?
Well, you sure know a lot about me for another asshole hiding behind a voice changer.
Oh, I'm not hiding, Sidney. Not this time. I'm gonna burn it all down.
Mother...
Scream 7. I know. I said consider last review's missing of this film to be my boycott of seeing it because of Melissa Barrera's firing. But that was really only because I didn't know when or if I'd get to see it. So I did actually get to see it. So, I do still support Barrera's side, and I think she was unjustly fired, but I do also need to keep up with this franchise since it is not ending anytime soon, for good or for worse. Despite the critics ripping this new entry apart, audiences still seem to enjoy it, and now that Neve Campbell is back, the original writer, Kevin Williamson, is also back, a bigger budget is allowed to pay these people what they deserve, and the film can finally be rated R. This movie somehow persevered and is now the highest grossing horror film of 2026 so far and the highest opening day return for the Scream franchise. So much so that Scream 8 is all but confirmed at this point, with the director and other various stars set to return. Probably not Barrera. Whatever. Her plotline wasn't good anyway, but that's still not fair for her. Sucks. Anyway, that in and of itself doesn't make the film good. It could have had all of that going for it and still end up falling flat. In some cases, I'm sure a lot of people would have wanted that after how Barrera, the star of Scream 5 and 6, was treated, the subsequent loss of radio silence as directors, and also Jenna Ortega leaving the film. But unfortunately for them, this was a pretty solid film, all things considered. It's nothing amazing, but it's pretty good. Not everything works. There's quite a few major plot issues, and the commentary is more than a little muddled in general. But overall, I feel like this is a strong, classic slasher with fun performances and more than a little bit of fan service thrown in among the new generation bits added in from 5 and 6. Overall, this is a pretty solid slasher filled with reverence for the previous films, legacy characters, their strong acting from the leads, and wonderful, gnarly, gory kills that are, for the most part, on screen, save for a couple that aren't. But you do get to see the aftermath of every kill, so bonus points for that, and they do all look pretty good. I had to get the overall idea out there before people clicked off, as I'm trying to keep retention here. So I'm being meta because Scream is meta. Does that make sense? Okay. It also helps a lot that Neve Campbell is officially back as a grown-up Sidney Prescott after her absence from the previous film because they weren't going to give her the money that she rightfully deserves. The commentary kind of ties into her absence from the last film as well, with this new killer who is supposedly Matthew Lillard being obsessed with Sidney herself instead of the Scream or Stab series as a whole. I'll get into the commentary a bit later on in this review, but it's not really so much the forefront as it is with the other films. I guess you could argue that that means this series has kind of lost the plot because the whole point is meta referential takes and commentary, and it's just not really here anymore. As usual though, I am getting ahead of myself. What? It helps to have a shtick. I know I do it for every video, but come on, it makes me recognizable. See, I'm being meta. Anyway, what is this movie even about? Scream 7 takes place a little while after the events of Scream 6, where Ghostface was in New York. Suddenly, we swing back to Sidney Prescott, who is now living in Indiana with her husband and 3 children, although the youngest 2 are missing from the film for plot purposes. I think they say they're with their grandparents, but okay. When a new Ghostface killer appears that teases Sidney with videos of the late Stu Macher from the first Scream, Sidney must jump into action yet again to protect herself and her daughter Tatum from this new but familiar threat. Right away, You can see the familiarity with the legacy characters, yeah? And Stu Macher isn't the only one, but no spoilers to that. And frankly, I really like this direction. I know it's fan servicey, but still, I like it. I feel like most of my positives relies heavily on Neve Campbell's performance overall, but she's a powerhouse and it's smart for the film to follow her as she struggles with PTSD and seeing herself in her daughter, who also just turned 17, the same age Sid was when the events of the first Scream took place. Wow. A lot of times they're even using the exact same lines from the first Scream, which might be going a little overboard, but still. Before I focus on the acting though, I do want to shout out the story and practical effects. These kills, when you do see them, all look really damn good. There's some grisly practical stuff here that had me smiling and wanting to cheer in the theater, not just because it looked gory, but because it felt fresh to finally see it again in a Scream film. I'm so tired of these PG-13 slashers that try to call themselves slashers and you just barely see anything. A couple of the deaths in this are even played for laughs, with my theater actively laughing at how ridiculous they were. That was a lot of fun, admittedly, which is a weird thing to say with the Scream movie, but it was a lot of fun. I do wish the setting, though, was a bit different. The story makes it a point to talk about how Sidney left Woodsboro to put the past behind her, but this new town in Indiana is pretty much the exact same town. It's small town USA where everyone knows each other, that somehow can also be completely shut down by the police, but also not have near enough patrols by them, and also just so happens to have a mental institution up the road. Because sure, why not? The location serves its purpose, and I suppose it could also be commentary in and of itself about how Sidney can't really accept the past and how she has to learn to live with and within it, but I feel like I'm giving the movie a bit too much credit there. That's a little too deep a reading, don't take that. The truly best part of this film, though, like I've mentioned, is the acting. Of course, Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott is a powerhouse. She owns the character, and it is really interesting to see just how it's come full circle for Sid. She started as a teen to now having her own teen, and I really like how she's clearly learned from her past and implements that into how she lives now, like understanding locks and video camera tools and training her family in self-defense courses and how to always aim for the head. She's badass but vulnerable. She's scared and worried for her daughter, but not for herself. She's also just so done with the antics of whoever this Ghostface is. She's Sidney fucking Prescott. Of course she has a backup gun. Plus, it helps that she is just inherently likable as a protagonist and also has great chemistry with pretty much every other actor in this. It's great, solid, and a lot of fun. Sidney and Gale forever. Although I will say, some of Sidney's choices as an adult and dealing with her kids don't really match up with what you would expect Sidney to do. Like, I don't want to get into it because of spoilers, but some of it just doesn't seem realistic. But overall, I like it. Speaking of, we have Sidney's daughter, Tatum, played by Isabel May. And she's fine. I think she isn't given much to do, but I think that's more on the writing, but whatever. She's a believable teenager overall who clearly loves her mother, but also struggles with wanting more of an understanding of who she is instead of being this jaded individual that she doesn't really know much about, but everyone else in town seems to know and treat like a celebrity. Other times, Tatum is like a pitch perfect, bland final girl input, but I also think that's by design. Maybe. I think it's purely to have Sidney walk her through how to survive and fight back as best she can, even though Sidney should have been doing that from the start, but whatever. Tatum's transformation throughout the film from crying victim to fighting back is also a little abrupt, but I do like where she lands ultimately. I like her last scene. I wouldn't say the torch, though, is sufficiently passed between the two, and that I'm more invested in Melissa Barrera's dropped character, even though that plotline is ridiculous, but Tatum is still fun for what she is. And I'm just glad May has gotten out of those weird period piece war films that she seems to have been doing before. Glad she's branching out. Those are weird. Geez, now I'm left with who else to talk about here. I guess cameos? Courtney Cox is Gale Weathers again, and we love her. Gale is amazing. Give her her own movie or something, but she's barely in this one. She clearly was on set for just a handful of days, and that's it. She gets written out of the movie very, very quickly. Who else? Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding return as the Meeks twins from the previous 2 films, and they're definitely there. They're the only real connection to the previous films since Barrera's firing, and they're fine. I've never really been a big fan of their characters overall, and they don't do anything to really change that here. I still like them for the most part, but they just aren't my favorites, and I feel like they get written out of everything with too much plot armor, and you could do so much more with these characters, but whatever. No, the true last person I can talk about, despite essentially being a cameo and clearly only being able to record for a couple days, is Matthew Lillard, reprising his role as Stu Macher, the second Ghostface killer from the original Scream films. Spoilers, but this is Scream 7, you should know that. He doesn't really do much at all. He just kind of shows up and taunts Sidney from time to time, but when he is on screen, he's electric. Lillard has such a fun, unique acting style, and it is a joy to see him reprise the role as Stu. Now, whether it really is Stu or someone pretending to be him, I won't spoil, because that's part of the mystery, but it is just as nice to see Lillard on screen once again in something better than FNAF 2, even if he has just as much, if not less, screen time there. So, oh my god, none of these films know how to use Matthew Lillard effectively, and he's great. You just gotta give him the right thing and know how to use him, but okay. I would have liked to see him and Neve Campbell interact a lot more, but oh well, it's what we get. Of course, though, that now brings me to things that I don't think the film handled all that well. Most of that has to do with the plot points and the commentary. There are a lot of moments that feel rushed or just feel like a strange idea that feels like it overtook another better idea, and the execution does not work. And one of those just so happens to be the Ghostface reveal. It is honestly one of the weakest reveals the series has to date, with the killer being incredibly predictable from the get-go, even though the film is riddled with red herrings. It isn't fully predictable, I'll give it props for that, and they do try to have a couple of twists in the film, but none of them feel very significant, unfortunately. There's a problem when a red herring feels like it would have been a better, more fun, and more believable reveal than any of the actual reveals we got. It also does not help that most of the foreshadowing in this movie is painfully obvious, like
It's
first grade level obvious. Like here we have a character going, "Oh, I hope I don't burn to death. That would be terrible. I wonder what happens to him." Or another complaining that they're constantly getting stuck in ropes. Oh no, what could happen to them? Other bits make sense for a slasher, but that doesn't stop it from feeling forced. Like how people can literally step into just the very next room and suddenly everything goes dead quiet and somehow nobody seems to hear screaming or crashing until it's too late. Even if there's music playing in the other room, you don't hear it. It's just dead quiet, but sure. Whatever. It's dumb, but it's standard slasher fare at this point. It's just also really annoying when the characters start to commentate on it. Like, yeah, okay, you called it out, sure. You're still doing it, though. So, what are you trying to achieve here? The most confused aspect of the film, though, is the commentary like that. It's just not very clear. Scream, as a franchise, has always been a self-referential commentary on horror and slashers in general. It's a little strange now because we've passed the requel territory. We're now fully in franchise mode here with new characters and blah, blah, blah. And instead, we're also going back to the original again, but oh well, what does the commentary do with this? And that's where it's kind of smart and kind of dumb, where instead of focusing on the commentary of the history of the films, it focuses on the obsession around the legacy characters. It doesn't feel like they're throwing these characters in for contrivance or just to get fans excited. They do feel like they're trying to give fans a genuinely good time, but also mix it in with the story a little bit. I just wish it played off more reliably, because nobody in this movie, even the legacy characters, matter outside of Sidney. Even Tatum doesn't matter. All of the side characters, completely useless. You can write pretty much all of them out of the movie, besides being potential killers. They are paper thin, completely transparent. You don't need them. But I guess that is the point of the commentary. I guess, since the commentary is all about Sidney, so it makes sense. It's just not very clear. The commentary here is talking about how audiences love legacy characters, but then ignores the previous characters we were already following to instead follow the now Nepo baby of the franchise. That's not fair. I mean, technically Barrera's character was also a Nepo baby of the franchise too, but a different one. The point being, though, the commentary is muddled and very hard to follow, which is strange for a Scream film. These are self-referential horror comedies, or they're at least supposed to be. Maybe it's just because we don't get many slashers nowadays that aren't low-budget, independent splatter films, but it still could have been fun to explore. Definitely feels like a missed opportunity. Overall, though, Scream 7 is very, very solid. We have fun characters, a powerhouse of a lead performance, and top it all off with a gory R rating, practical, inventive kill scenes, and plenty of references and cameos for longtime franchise fans, and you have an overall winner of a film. It's not perfect, and some beats clearly needed another go in the writer's room, and some ideas are just stupid, but the end product is still very solid, all things considered. I am glad I saw it, and I do wish that things didn't play out like they did for Barrera, who was unfairly fired in my opinion, but I can't really complain or keep complaining about it too much when the product that we did get is pretty decent. I guess returning writing and acting talent does make a film, so I don't know. If you're a fan, go see it. So ultimately, Scream 7 gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around for another one. Yeah, I know, but I had the option, I was gonna see it, and I was curious. The Bride wasn't getting great reviews, so I know bad review films probably get more views on YouTube, but I want to watch good films. I want to see good films. I like talking about good films. I mean, we'll see what this week has with it. I know we're getting Undertone. Oh yeah, also, I had my birthday this week. Tell me happy birthday. It's late, but I'll accept it. I like attention. Anyway, what did you guys think of Scream 7? Did you see it? Do you think what happened to Melissa Barrera was fine or was wrong? What do you think if she had stayed on, what Scream 7 would have been about? Because the whole film got rewrote after she got fired, so who knows? Let me know in the comments below what you think. And after that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss a video, and yeah, that's it. Have a great day, and if you're not, have a better one. See ya.
I'm just a ghost in your stereo, the fading memory of a shipwreck in the undertow. You're just a lost song on your own, and I'm just a ghost in your stereo.